Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast, episode 4. So we've done 4 of these now. Well,
Wow.
we're about to do 4. This is the 4th.
This is the fourth,
So
okay.
yeah. So after the 3 times, you think we're getting a little bit better at it.
Every time something improves.
We've got a different background here.
Getting fancy.
Getting fancy. And a new desk. So we're no longer in school desk. We graduated to a real grown-ups desk now.
So it's like a college desk, you know. We'll get like some hutches or something when we get like big
Yeah.
executive desk.
For sure. As you get older, the more shelves you need too. Like you always just stack stuff up, and then it's oh, now I got all this space. Now I have all these collectibles. Oh, now I have stuff I actually need to keep, and so I need more shelves. And like it just grows. And you've got a room of shelves by the time you're 50. It's amazing. So how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Cooler weather coming in.
I know. It was really it was very chilly. It took me forever to warm up my car this morning. Get ready. I usually go out there and start the car, turn the heaters up on the vents because I've learned if you do it on your dash when it's very cold, it'll crack your windshield. So I did that last year whenever the ice storm came in.
I did not know that.
Yes, so good to know. Yeah.
Pro tip.
Through the vents on the front, not on your dash. So yeah, you'll crack a windshield that way. But yeah, I turned them on and I went back in the house and finished getting ready. Came back out and it's like it was still just frost on my windshield.
Oh, wow.
And stuff. And so yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then traffic, and then getting here and walking across the street. It's like a lot this morning. Yeah, it took me a lot to get out here to. Up here to record, we're on the 28th floor, so it's like it's a long climb.
Well, yeah, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
Nice
it
view.
is definitely worth it. Yeah. Glad to be here though. So yeah, what's new in your world?
Just trying
Everything.
to get
Too much. You always got a lot of new things going on.
Well, we just opened we just got approved for the school.
Okay.
So we're hoping to take students starting in January.
Okay.
So that's been taking up a lot of time, and also still trying to do the work. And we hired on a new therapist, and I'm looking at bringing on a new machine, which is a huge investment. So I'm going to getting some sticker shock.
Okay. When we say school for
massage therapy school.
Awesome.
Yeah, so exclusively, I mean, almost you talk to anybody who's been to school in Arkansas, and they'll all tell you basically the same thing, that they had a very similar experience. And that's not bad, but my practice, I focus mostly on doing therapeutic work, and we don't do a lot of relaxation and things like that. So this school is going to focus on people who want to go that direction, so that it gives them more of a jump start, so they're not going to come out wanting to go to give relaxation massages and then have to take all the education to get there. They'll already have it when they get out.
Awesome.
So I'm trying to recreate more of me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with the subject I had in mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about skills that you wish you had.
When starting out?
Well, starting out, in the middle of business,
Okay.
at the end of business, when you're selling your business, if you're retiring, it never stops. There's always more that you could do. And I think people keep, you should have a vision in mind of like where you want to be in the next 5 years, 8 years. And then you know that you're going to have to do this, and this to get there. But usually this, and this takes more skills than what you have on your repertoire already.
So one of the things that really slowed my growth was not having a good vision starting out. Well, the school obviously didn't provide a very good vision. They just wanted to get me to pass the national boards. But I had to kind of find my way. So if I had access to other professionals, or I don't know, I read a lot of books and did things like that to try and help me understand that I'm not here to help all the people. I'm here to help my target audience.
Right.
I think that would have helped me grow faster.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you start out, you're like, I want all the customers. I want everyone.
Right.
I can help you all.
Yeah.
And that's just it doesn't work that way.
I think a lot of people, like in your position, you're going to be teaching massage therapy, right? So you've been doing it for many years, and like you've come across all kinds of clients and conditions and different forms of physical therapy and that type of stuff. But so like a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, I've been doing this for years and years and years, and then they go into a field of like, I can just teach this stuff, and then they realize, it's not just about what you know about the field, but also now you have to have people skills and managing the class and how to have a lesson plan and so there's a whole new set of skills that a lot of people don't really prepare for whenever they get into it.
That's very true. You start seeing a lot of the continuing education providers in Arkansas are people that should not be teaching because they don't have good they just don't have people skills. They don't know how to communicate with different levels of learning, and that is frustrating.
Oh yeah, for sure. I ran into somebody who was like getting their PhD in a certain field where there's very few, like career opportunities and except for teaching. And this person's very quiet, reserved. They don't really like talking out loud or like, disturbing anybody and that type of stuff. And I'm like, you're going to do something with this degree. You're going to have to teach, which means you're going to have to be an authority and be very social and open and taking questions and answering, responding, and getting in front of the class, have the spotlight on you. And so it's going to be
So one of the questions that my assistant asked me when I first started talking about opening the school was, are you going to be prepared to fail someone if they don't do well? And I'm like, absolutely. Like I'm not afraid to do that. But some people aren't capable of laying the hatchet down.
That's like when somebody's it's like, well, somebody higher up, let's say a CEO brings in, somebody that's underneath them, and be like, hey, you're gonna have to fire one of our employees. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden, this is not part of the job. I didn't sign up for this. You know what I mean? And if you're a type of person where you just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or you know what I mean, it's a big it's a big leap. Yeah, absolutely. Make you feel dirty in your soul when we So I think well, obviously doing the podcast and I've been doing more filming projects and stuff lately, and so one of the skills I definitely wish I had more of is learning how to edit video. That's the main thing. Audio, video, obviously. Because if you're listening or watching to this, you're like, okay, we got some work to do here. But how all those it's so crazy how all those elements work together. Like I'm used to building websites where it's all visual. I mean, there's no audio unless you have like a video on it, and then it's already mixed for you and edited and all that. But like going into like Adobe Premiere and chopping up this video and laying over parts on top of each other. It reminds me of a lot of like when I was producing music a long time ago. There was something called Fruity Loops. You ever heard of that? I don't think so. Okay. So anyways, Fruity Loops was a software people were using like Pro Tools where they could produce their music. But I mean, you would record one track, and then you would record another track, and then you record another track, and then you would chop them up and lay them on top of each other so that it actually came out like a full song with the full band. Or so video is like that, except now not only are you messing with audio and having to balance all that, but it's also video clips and like smooth transitions and into like so not quite there yet. You know what I mean? I do my best. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of happy with that, but I'm sure in a couple of years I'll look back and be like, man, I needed some work. I needed some work there.
Yeah, we are producing some of our continuing education courses in online format, and we've been struggling with that as well. So they're not awesome, but the information's good. It's just the visual. You're like that obviously you're not a video editor.
Yeah, for sure. Man, so skills that I definitely need. You're always going to come to a point where you're like, I need this done. It's an immediate thing on my plate right now, but I don't have everything I need to be able to do it. Whether it's I think the most common one would probably be taxes or some sort of filing for to trademark your business or to register, and knowing which way you want to register and that type of stuff. And so like it's an ongoing struggle, which I mean that's why a lot of different industries out there exist, because for everything that we need, there's a job created for that. And somebody does that,
And at a point, and we talked about this before, sometimes you have to be willing to farm it out. You have to be willing to say, okay, I can file my taxes, but should I? Is my time better spent making money to pay someone to file my taxes than for me to do it? Because some things are just hugely time consuming if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Or if you're fiddling through. We have some programs that edit videos and they do a decent job, but it takes us a minute. And if we wanted a better production value and I wanted to get on with my life, it's better to have someone else do that.
Sure.
So that's something in your business you have to be willing to do, is say, okay, this is outside my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And I tell this to my sister all the time. She's one of those people that does everything. And I'm like, just because you can doesn't mean you need to.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't
so
have to do that.
It has to be done. But your time is better spent working on developing this course than it is doing the laundry. Let's hire someone to do the laundry.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. So, it's something I wish was out. So, like, there were some things where, like, skills. I wish I had more, photography skill. And, like, you can take master classes. You can take, Skillshare. Mm-hmm. I was doing Skillshare there for a while. That's how I learned how to cook over during the quarantine pandemic. It was like HelloFresh and Skillshare. They taught me how to be a chef. And so, like, it taught me a lot about that. But, like, still, photography, I think, like, and I find that, like, it's not just a blanketed skill. Mm-hmm. It's like there's art to everything, of course, and so, like, everybody's got their own take, mm-hmm. and, like, how I take a photo of something is not going to be how you take a photo of something, which is interesting. And so there's something that presents a problem for me. Like, I ran into this building a website recently, and this is not the first time I've run into this, but, like, I'm looking for stock photos that I can put in, which is like drinking, and it just happens to be coffee, and you set it down. So it's like I wanted a pair of black hands on a coffee cup. You would not realize how difficult it is to find a stock photo of a black model holding a cup of coffee, or really black models doing anything other than, like, the poses you really can't use for most things. Mm-hmm. It's very specific stuff. It's so strange. It's like most of them are just white. And if you put diversity in, you'll have, like, mostly white and then, like, one Asian person, one black person in the group. And then it's like, this is not what I'm looking for.
That actually came up differently in the same. So it actually gets me someplace. So I'm Asian. Mm-hmm. And I often, I'm mixed, so sometimes I get confused as being white, but I wanted to add some diversity on my website, and I found it difficult to go to someone and say, "Hi, you have dark skin color, and I want to take a picture of you," without sounding racist. Yeah. So when I hired one of my yoga instructors, she's African American, and I asked, hey, we've become friends, and we were able to talk more candidly. Yeah. I'm like, how do I ask someone to do this? I mean, how can I say this without sounding racist? Yeah. And she was like, you just say you want to do it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm taking pictures of you then.
Right.
So she'll hold a coffee cup for you if you need.
Okay, great. Well, thanks.
Chelsea's beautiful. She'll love her.
Fortunately, I have two friends that are black, and they are professional models.
I was going to say, are they able to hold coffee cups?
Well, yeah, they can hold coffee cups, but they model clothes and
cool.
Outfits and like galas and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah. So it's nice to have that. But also, like, for the general people, I mean, why is it not more available in, like, stock photos? I don't understand.
So, not just with color. Lena, my sister, she was she was doing a video we were doing one on massage guns, and she wanted to get a picture of an elderly person using one. Okay. She found one picture, and it wasn't a stock photo. It was someone copyrighted it, so you couldn't use it. But it was like one. So there's a lot of those difficulties that when you want to have a certain look and feel, that stock photos just aren't going to do it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a skill. Mm-hmm. People have these skills out there, and like you said, you don't always have to do everything yourself. And so I shouldn't have to go out and find the model, find the place, get the equipment, do all. I mean, there's people that do this for a living, and so, like, somebody can make a lot of money off of stock photos of just people of color doing basic things like holding a cup of coffee, right. You know what I mean? Having a grip of flowers or something like that, mm-hmm. So it's pretty interesting. That kind of diverged from what the general topic was in the beginning, but, like, I don't know.
When I was, over the years, as my business has grown, I've hired professional photographers to come in and get different pictures of my space and my people and what's going on.
Yeah.
And to your point about people can do that, I had one person who came in and took great pictures of my stuff. Like, they were a stuff photographer.
Yeah.
And I think I looked short and fat, which, okay, I can lose 3 pounds, but I'm not short. Another photographer later, great portraits.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, made people, me and my other therapist I had at the time, we just looked beautiful. And then crap pictures of everything else. And so, there are people that can do those things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important to remember that there are still specialties within those fields.
Sure. Yeah. And so, like, going back to, like, you want to make it to a certain place and you have to have these certain skills, you know what I mean? But you don't have to have those skills. You can, like I said, hire it out. But yeah, you're going to have to grow yourself into certain skills. I mean, you're inevitably, whatever your business is, the main thing that you provide, you're obviously going to get better at that.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do it, just like you think practice makes perfect. You know, people tell you that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so, like, the way you're building up your skills, I mean, that's everybody. Everybody's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Photography, like you said, one person was way better at taking shots of people than they were shots of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I think, I don't know. I think as people and as business leaders, as professionals, I think if we really embrace what we're really good at
Mm-hmm.
and, like, stop pretending we're good at something else, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
it makes it clear and,
stay
like,
in your lane.
Yeah.
Some people try to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that, I know a lot about massage therapy, so I refer back to that a lot, but you go into these places and they'll have a therapist that's got a menu of you can have this, you can have that, you can have all these different things, and it's mind-boggling.
Yes.
And how can you be an expert at all of those things?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. If you're just, it's like, here's the menu. You can order a la carte, whatever you want. You want a toe massage and this and that, and then I'll want flowers in your face.
Well, I mean, they have the hot stones or the hot
Mm-hmm.
bamboo or all these different things, and all of those things are things, and they require skill.
Right.
And taking one CE does not make you an expert.
Right.
And because that you've gone so many different directions, you haven't focused in and gotten really good at what you're best at.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm one of those people, I think, where I'm like, I want to do everything. You know what I mean? It's so hard for me to rely on anybody else because I've been burned so many times. But I'm like, okay, I know if I set my mind to it, I have the energy and focus, and I can get it accomplished.
But sometimes okay is better than never.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
You have to be able to say, I'm okay with this not being perfect, so I don't have to do it.
Because I only have a certain amount of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't do everything and still have time in the day to live or breathe or do anything else.
Sleep.
Sleep. Who needs sleep?
Yeah, I mean, I have to remember to say no to projects too. I'm a huge. I love to do volunteer work. I love to give back to the community, and I could spend all my time doing that. But then I have to remember I have to leave enough energy in the coffers there to go make money,
Exactly.
so that I can live, so that I have effort and energy to be able to do the volunteer work.
Right. I just had a big conversation with my leads group last week about that. So we're opening the table about entrepreneurship and, like, new ventures and that type of thing, and, like, sort of explain what I'm doing. And I was like, I have passions about certain things. Those things don't particularly make me money, and but I would absolutely do them for free, like networking. I love getting out, talking to people, making connections. At the moment, it's not very profitable, and so, like, I have to keep building websites and doing social media management because that's what's bringing in the money and paying the bills.
But that's actually a good point, because you are, as your side gig, you're doing this podcast, we're opening up a networking business development group, we're doing all those things that are hopefully going to make the money. And that's a good point, is that sometimes you have to do the things you don't love to do the things that you do love. Yeah. And then obviously want to try to make that transition.
For sure. I was going to tell you, so we did make some money off of this podcast.
Awesome.
We made 63 cents.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
63 cents.
Yay.
A whole 63.
A couple more weeks like that, we can buy a cup of coffee.
I know. Right? Depending where we're going.
Right.
We can't go to Starbucks.
No. Gas station coffee.
So if you leave pennies on the counter, you just pick up the cup. It's like that type of place. Amazing. So is there, like, I know you want to continue to grow and you have the school coming up. You're going to be teaching people all kinds of skills, and are they going to be able to get licensed?
Yeah, those people that are going to be getting, they require 500 hours of education in order to take the boards in order to get a license.
That's awesome.
So that's what's needed.
Okay. So they take a test afterwards, and then okay, that's interesting.
So the school prepares you for the test, and the test gets you your license. So hopefully I'm going to be helping people get prepared for not only for the test, but to also go out into the world afterwards.
Right.
Give them a realistic expectation of what they can actually do with their license. And a lot of people that come out of school, they think, oh, well, I'm going to make $60, $80 an hour. And that's just not realistic because you come out as an entrepreneur and you have to pay for gas and space and the tables and the lotions and all of the insurance, and the license isn't free, and all of the clients. So there's all the things that you have to pay for, and then but you're not making that. It's not like an hourly wage where you go and work for someone and punch a clock and you get paid for every hour. You get paid for the hour that you're working, and then all the time in between is when you're developing, and that costs money. So giving students a realistic expectation of what they can expect in the world of massage therapy when they get out is a big goal for the school.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. So I'm just thinking about, I don't know, like expectations, whenever you start a business or like you have an idea where it's like, this is genius. Mm-hmm. Nobody's doing this, and this is solving a problem. And then you're like, everybody's going to want to jump on as an investor. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to hold off on some of them. You know what I mean? I'm only going to take so many. Only so many people get in. And you get out, and it's like, you ever seen Step Brothers? And so we watched the Will Ferrell movie, and so we watched it's my wife's favorite movie, and so we watched it again last night, and it like made me feel like the presentation they did at the dinner table of like this is a once in a lifetime investment, like it's so terrible, and it's like, oh man, very cringy, and then like they end up wrecking everything. And they're like, well, so are you going to invest or not? After they already burned the place down. And it's like, no, we're not going to. And that's kind of how it feels.
And that is a good point, because people start these businesses, whether it be something, like a service industry like I'm in, or in any type of business that you start out and you're thinking, oh my God, this is my baby. I love it. It's going to be great. I'm going to solve the world's problems. I'm going to make $1 million. And then you get out in the world, you realize that, it's not a thing because no one wants it, or whatever the issue may be, and you crash. And having a network that can help you recover from that crash, like both emotionally, and can help get you get you back on track. It doesn't mean a failure doesn't mean stop. A failure means redirect. Yeah. And maybe that wasn't the best thing, but maybe parts of it might have been good. You just needed a little help or a little nudge in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That, and you're going to have to grind. If you want it, like if you're going to want to grow to the point that you thought you're going to be, you're definitely going to have to grind and get out there and, like you said, do all the things, work small first, build up your income, then you can start buying in more stuff, like the lotions and all the stuff here, the space, the tables, and all the different tools that you're going to need. And then continue to grow from there. You're going to have to live on a budget for a while. It's going to be a budget, that thing. And, there's a lot of skills that you're going to have to acquire in order to, make it work at first. But I think as like, people in, I don't even know what field it would be. I guess it's psychology itself. But they tell you to stay, mentally active and to fight off like Alzheimer's and that type of stuff. It's there's something called... Oh Lord, what is it called?
Neuroplasticity?
Yes. Yeah, Yes, that's it. Say it again?
Neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Yes, I was going to say elasticity, but yeah, you're right. Neuroplasticity. So the ability to think about things in new ways, to figure out puzzles that are put in front of you never worked out before, that type of thing. And so like continuing to work on your skills, like there's tons of different ways that you can do that. But yeah, for sure is another way of keeping your mind fresh and not growing stale to where your brain only thinks one way is to pick up a completely new skill that you always wanted to do. So picking up a say, photography class, or if you wanted to learn how to paint, if you wanted to learn how, I don't know, anything you wanted to, if you want to learn how to get a CDL license, you know what I mean? Even though you're never going to drive a truck, you know what I mean? It still keeps your brain fresh, and you know more about a subject that could help you out down the line, you know what I mean? But more than anything, it keeps your brain fresh, and it keeps you from, I don't know, sort of becoming a fossil, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, you find that a lot. You get to these companies, and people have been in the industry for 100 years, and they made it to the top, and then they just think that this is the way life is. And we saw that a lot with COVID. And I think that's a good point that you bring up, because a lot of businesses failed because people had blinders on. People were trying to make the old model work post-COVID, and it's a new world. And we have to think about things in a different way. We have to think about how we're interacting with our customers, how we're displaying our things, how we got the shipping shortage, how we're ordering. All those things have to be considered, and there are new ways of thinking. Amazon might be 2-day delivery, but if Amazon doesn't have it, they can't get it to you.
Right.
So being able to wait until the last minute to make that order might not be where you need to stay, because then you're not going to have what you need in order to help your customers. But the same thing is with all the other aspects of business, is that if you can't adjust on the fly, if you can't figure out how to make Zoom work, or if you can't figure out how to do more conference calls, or to get there without flying, or whatever the obstacle is, and you can't think of a new way to do it, you're suffering.
Yeah, for sure. It just reminded me, it was like making Zoom work. Remember, did you ever see the video of the lawyer that was like having court online, and like it put a filter on him and he turned into a cat?
No.
Oh my God, you gotta watch that. It's hilarious. And he was like, "Your Honor, I'm here." They were like, "Do you know that you're a cat right now?" And he's like, "I don't know how this works, and sir, I guarantee you, I'm not a cat."
I am definitely going to consult the Google for that one.
It was hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Keeping your brain fresh and learning how to, oh man, technology is always changing, especially the way that Facebook and a lot of the companies that work together. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now between. There's a company called Streamlabs. Like, we use OBS to record this, and so OBS is an open source free software, which means like anybody can create a plugin for it to do whatever they want with it, and like it's completely free to use. And then there's another company called Streamlabs that was calling themselves Streamlabs OBS. So because it's open source and because it's free, they're free to use that name, and they were okay with it at first, but then it turns out their website was an exact copy of another streaming program, and then there was like, it's so like, I don't know, knowing how to identify the differences between two different companies. And so if there's a Facebook out there and you never had a profile on Facebook, well, then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna join Facebook, and then you there's like, people make the joke of fake book and all that stuff. Well, anybody could easily make another social media app that's similar to it. We call it fake book, and then that steals all your information. You know what I mean? And so somebody might sign into that, and it goes downhill. So yeah, learning, being educated, keeping up with the times and everything. Like, Facebook changes their stuff all the time. They're just changed into now it's Meta is the company now, working on the metaverse, which is going to cause a whole lot of just, I don't know, it's going to be insane.
So in a prior life, I worked for a web development company, and I helped build websites, and I helped do their marketing, and I did a lot of social media marketing, and I was really into the marketing aspect of things, and listened to all the podcasts and consulted with the experts, and then my business has a very strong digital presence. And then I'm like, okay, I make more money making money than I do posting on Facebook, so I'm going to give that to someone else. And I got out of it, and they're doing fine. And I said something to my assistant the other day. I was like, something, hashtag something. She goes, hashtags are out.
Yeah, nobody uses. Yeah.
Why did it? I feel so old.
They work sometimes on Instagram. Well, yeah, I know. I've got clients who are like, they're like, how come you're not using hashtags on our posts? Like, because it makes you look like you're, like they say. I mean, it seems like that. You know what I mean? Like, for me, when I was growing up in the 90s, like the 80s stuff is old. You know? I mean, now this stuff that was like in the early 2010s, that stuff is old. And I know, it's like time goes so fast. Now we're in 2021, about to be in 22. Yeah, it's insane. I know it's crazy talking about the metaverse coming out, and it's going to be a long time. They are nowhere near what they.
Right.
We remember what Facebook rolled out the whole you create your own avatar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like nobody's avatar ever looks exactly like them or
Mm-hmm.
anything like them. It's like you couldn't identify who it was you were looking at, but just by looking at their avatar. So they are very far off from anything. But what Zuckerberg was showing there, that was all movie CGI stuff, and so we are nowhere close. But there's already marketing professionals, quote unquote, which is that's another thing, which is like it's being a marketing person the overhead is just zero.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it for free. To get it started and just roll out there and start saying, hey, I'm a marketing person,
Mm-hmm.
and you start a YouTube channel, whatever. And so there's lots of them out there right now that are like trying to sell courses on how you can market your company in the metaverse when they don't even know what the hell it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? They haven't seen it or where it's
those words
at.
sound really awesome,
Sounds great,
and
yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I
So
better
here's
get
my
ahead
money.
of the curve. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
They don't have any insight on that. They have no idea what the hell it is, or when it's going to roll out. But they'll be like, hey, you need to go ahead and start training right now. Go ahead and pay me. I'll do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know this one person who works for a company, and the thing is they have a marketing degree.
Yeah.
That they got 10 years ago. And they're making all these 10-year-old marketing degree decisions with the company, and they wonder why it doesn't work. And it's like, well, just because you have a degree in marketing or in technology or whatever, by the time you get out of school, that's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be able to keep moving.
Oh man, that's my favorite excuse. Like when people say that they don't need help for marketing, they'll be like, "Oh, we got." They'll always have like I don't know, like three people in their 60s or so, you know what I mean? And they'll be like, we have a collective 124 years in marketing experience. And I'm like, man, this stuff didn't exist 124 years ago. It didn't exist 50 years ago or 30.
10.
Exactly. Like my daughter asked me all the time, what did you watch on YouTube whenever you were growing up? We didn't have it. We didn't have tablets or cell phones, you know what I mean? Until I was in high school finally.
When I tell my kids when they're bad and I want to punish them, I'm like, we're going back to 1982. Yeah. Phones are out. You're gonna have to walk.
Phones on the wall now,
right?
Just got a cord.
So the kids don't understand.
No, absolutely not. And so for like somebody to say that they have over. So I mean, like even Facebook itself, it didn't come out till what 2005, 4? I can't remember what it was. Somewhere around there. And so like that was just like 17 years ago. So you can say that you have 17 years of social media experience. Mm-hmm. You can say that, and I'll believe you. But if you start telling me you have 30 or 40 or 50 or 120, no, I'm sorry, nope.
I mean, some of those the old ways of marketing, like if you see Mad Men, like some of those tactics are still important in making, like writing ad copy and things of that nature, but you have to be able to get out of that box.
Yes.
And you can use some of those tools, but you have to use them on a new machine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like some of the principles lay over, but like the way that you implement it, and like society changes around it too.
Yes.
It's so crazy. Like every time something new rolls out, or if there's a new social dilemma facing, especially in America, like we change all the time, like the way that we use things.
And the power we give words. Things that were okay to say a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago may not be okay now, and vice versa.
You could have, so like, not to get political here or anything, but like a few years ago, say like two years ago, right? So this one phrase wouldn't have had any meaning to anybody. Somebody rooting their kid on in the sports and say, let's go Brandon. If you say that in 2021, that means something completely different.
Yes.
Something like that. I was like, man, it's weird how just society, like you really have to have your finger on the pulse and keep up with all current news.
Or don't speak.
Or just don't talk. Yeah, exactly. You beat yourself. No, the way so like, the main way I'm like, besides like reading posts in my feed and all that stuff is like, of course, go to Twitter, go to trending. Like whatever's trending there, like that's what people are talking about. It's like it'll keep you up, and it'll actually keep you from getting in trouble a lot of the times because you're like, oh, I didn't know that was not okay to say. Because something like a simple phrase like that, like it has a completely different meaning. It's like,
I when that happened, someone was saying something about it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
I know. It's so dumb to me. But I mean, there's a whole movement behind just you can get. Anybody can get anybody to follow them. I'll just say that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like anybody can lead, and that's a dangerous thing. It's
It
a powerful thing, but it's a dangerous thing.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways. That was just talking some skills and everything else around the world. We kind of took a trip there. But yeah, like I said, it never really stops. Always going to have new skills. Keep it fresh. I mean, like always keep your mind going and growing. I hope to not be in the same spot that I am now next year. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope I have a whole new set of skills of different things I can do, or be stronger at the ones I'm already doing. So, and you've got a school to teach. Now you're a teacher.
I've been teaching for years.
I've been teaching. All right.
I'm just now going to do it for people that aren't licensed.
There you go.
I'm teaching licensed professionals for a while, so I'm going to be good.
Taking them in fresh and forming them and helping get their tests, and you're going to be very proud of your children that you've taught now.
And if they misbehave, back to 1982.
Yeah, there we go. Put your phones down. They're in the basket. Put them out. So that's awesome. Anything else you wanted to add?
No. I know we're going to have some interviews coming up, so I'm excited about that.
Yes, trying to schedule some things, yeah.
So there's a couple of people that have agreed to talk with us that I think will be really fun, help our listeners learn about how they can help their business grow.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
So, excited for that.
All right, awesome. If you are watching this on YouTube, then you can get the audio version on any of the podcast streaming services. I'm saying and on a lot today.
My Toastmasters
I spent like 2 days of like cutting somebody else's uhs and ahs out of their videos so that it looks like a good interview. And now I'm doing it in person. I think I just listened to it too many times. It's like that's just normal. You got to hear uhs and ahs throughout the day now, or else it's not a normal day. If you're listening to this as an audio, then you can see us on YouTube. And of course, we'll start getting a regular schedule for these videos coming out. Like weekly type of thing. Like we're going to drop on this day. Until we figure that out, I can't say when that's going to be. But try to get more consistency here and growing that. So, and until next time, like I said, we've got some interviews coming up. We've got some exciting new topics and things like that we'll be recording and like working on the studio. Like it's coming along. So we have a
cool background now.
Yeah, we're in the metaverse now. This is it. All right. Well, until the next time, keep your business healthy.